Hey there, my name is Craig Carton and welcome to The Comeback. Now, as a responsible gaming ambassador for FanDuel and someone who has personally navigated the challenges of gambling addiction, I understand the impact it can have on your life and the lives of those you care about. The road to recovery is not an easy one, but I've committed myself to helping others who are now facing similar struggles as I did. At The Comeback, we aim to amplify real stories of those who've experienced the highs and the lows of gambling addiction. We are here to break down the stigma surrounding gambling disorder, the support and resources needed to help individuals and their families, and show you more than anything else that recovery is possible. My mission is to inspire hope, offer support, and remind everyone that the path to a healthier relationship with gambling starts with understanding. Welcome to The Comeback. Joining me now on The Comeback is my buddy Randy Livingston, 11-year NBA veteran. Randy, good to see you, pal.
Good to see you again.
All right, so a conversation that was not easy to have years ago now becomes our norm, and that, of course, is talking about the silly things we did in the name of gambling. So let me just get a little bit of the background. How old were you when you first got exposed to any kind of gambling in your life?
I was probably 10 years old, 10, 11 years old, and in the neighborhood I grew up, they played cards and played dice. That was just a way of life, and that went on. And then to be quite honest, I watched my mom pretty much, that was her way to make some money for us to go on AU trips. And so her, the family, or whoever she could find, they'd play cards and gamble. And in my estimation, I thought she won all the time because we always had some money to go to go on the trip. So,
well, your mom wasn't going to come and say, guess what, son, I lost like the rent payment, or you can't go on a travel basketball trip. How old were you when you first started really wagering on things?
Yeah, I think once you got to college, obviously it wasn't the NIL age in college sports, but actually when you got to college, you got Pell Grant money, you had access to more money. And I think that's when I think you started to betray your own values. Like for me, going on the casino bus, on a casino boat, knowing that you were underage, I'm the face of the LSU program. Everyone would know me, but that's how into it I was at that point. And I think that's when it really started becoming
I want to talk about that because you're unique in that you were a celebrity as a kid. Like you had this amazing skill, one of the great prep players, AAU players, high school players. So because of that, you also probably got away with more things than the average 15-year-old kid, 18-year-old kid would have gotten away with, right?
Yeah, I grew up fast, and just in the environment that I grew up, you had to grow up fast. Single home, brothers, sisters, we all took care of each other. And, we were just trying to survive. At least we thought, gambling was a way to survive and make some extra cash and to, just have some money in your pocket. And that, it just started at that early age. And, sports, and when you're at the level that I had gotten to as a prep player, it's competitive. And once you start, you have that competitive itch, it just, turns over to other things.
I say that all the time. We talk on college campuses and even with high school kids. The first group of people I worry about are the kids that are athletes. Because as athletes, and I'm obviously not an athlete compared to you, but we hate to lose. Athletes don't like to lose. And you're type A competitive. That feeds right into having a gambling problem because if you lose a hand, if you lose a night at a casino or with your buddies on a game, the inclination is, screw that, I'm going to get my money back, right? What point in your life would you say, looking back on it now with clarity, not in the moment, would you say, I was this old in this place when looking back on it, I cannot recognize I was going down a bad path with gambling?
Yeah, I truly believe it was in college. I think, because once you risk, going to jail, because the signs clearly say if you're underage, you can't go on the boat. And then, like I said, I'm the face of the program at that time. So to risk that was truly, that was the beginning stages of problem gambling.
Right, but you got away with it.
Yep. So you think. And then as you get older and you get more money as you become a professional. And I think for me, my turning sign was, I'll never forget, it was it was February 21st, 2017.
Okay.
I'm coaching at LSU now.
Okay.
I go to the casino boat after self-excluding myself.
And let me just walk people through that. Self-excluding means, you could do it online. You can't wager online.
Yep.
If you do it at bricks and mortar casinos, it means they shouldn't let you walk in the door to gamble.
Correct.
Now, I've told this story before. I self-excluded online, and I had a Jersey casino invite me to come in because they knew I was a gambler.
Yep.
So what was your experience?
Yeah, I self-excluded. Everyone in Louisiana knew who I was. So I went into the casino, and this night I happened to win 30, 40K very quickly. I go to try to cash it in. They said, hold on for a second. State trooper comes in. I go to the back room, and pretty much they took all the money that I had won. They didn't give me back the money I lost.
They let you gamble.
Let me gamble.
And then when you won, they said, we ain't paying you.
We ain't paying you. And then the worst, you go in the back, and they could have taken me to jail because from the laws, you're trespassing once you self-exclude.
That would have been a weak case,
For
but
sure.
okay, I got you.
I agree. Yeah. And so he gave me a ticket. So I'm on my way home. I'm like, shucks, I can't tell my wife where I've been and where am I going to do with this ticket. So I tore up the ticket. And at this point, you never know what your trigger is going to be. We're 2-16 in the SEC that year as a coach. Probably know we're going to get fired. 2 weeks later, I go to another casino. I won a little bit, but then I lost it, and then I went to try to cash in. So you got to use your ID to get some money, off your credit card, blah, blah, blah. Next thing you know, same thing happened.
Same thing.
But this was the crazy thing. Same cop, same state trooper. He's like, I know you're not back in here again. And so then at that point, I knew it was an issue.
When you look back on it now, like, were you totally out of control? Where you go, I got my paycheck, I'm going to gamble with all of it. Like, walk me throughout your NBA career, how prevalent gambling was.
So I was definitely the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and over again. So this was my deal. People would be like amazed that I was able to play those many years on a bad knee, but I would go the route of being a NBA journeyman, get a 10-day contract, make a good enough money to continue to stack every year. But every summer I did the same thing. I trained really hard the first month after the season. The next month, I lived like you would normally live, have a little fun, and then I would go to the casino until the end of the summer, and whatever I earned the previous year, lost it all. So then my working was to try to get more money to gamble.
What was that bottom of the barrel moment that made you finally decide, I got to come clean with my wife. I got to tell people the truth so I can get help?
Well, I got lucky because the same state trooper gave me another citation, right?
Gotcha.
And so I'm walking out, okay, I have a huge problem. But when I'm walking out, I see the billboard, the 1-800-problem gambling sign. And so I called it. They explained to me we have an in-house and in-house and an outhouse. You can go to treatment locally or you can go to Shreveport and to get help. And so I still didn't know how to explain that to my family and my wife. And so on the way home, I finally confessed to her. But she said I already knew. I didn't think she knew. And so I confessed to her, and there was really no option for me. It wasn't to stay locally and go and come home and all that stuff. She's like, you need help. You need to go. And so within an hour, I was on my way to the Core Treatment Center in Shreveport, and my life changed forever after that.
When you look at life now and you look back on all the time you spent worrying about money, worrying about who I might owe money to, or gambling, debts, and where I'm going to gamble next, compared to your life now, you don't have the millions of dollars anymore, but you're living a righteous life. Compare your life today to what it was back then when you were in the middle of the addiction.
Well, I'm blessed, and like most of us problem gamblers say, you live a day at a time. I've been 8 years sober from gambling. Life couldn't be any better. I have a wonderful family. I have a great career. I'm getting to coach my oldest son right now. I never have to worry about money. I'm never trying to, for me, live up to the expectations that was there coming out of high school and what some of my peers became. I just live life one day at a time. That doesn't mean life's easier. That doesn't mean we still don't have.
Still got your issues, right?
We still got life. We'll keep lifing. But at the end of the day, I don't have those issues anymore. Going home, worrying about, a bill or worrying about how I'm going to keep this time I went to the casino away from my wife. And, I think going to that core place in Shreveport, it changed my life. And really doing a financial affidavit where you see all the money you spent traveling from here to Mississippi just to go, it costs more money for gas and all the money you taking out. I think once you do those type of things, I think it makes you realize that life is so much better without gambling.
Yeah, that's actually a tough day because we have a general idea of what we did.
Oh, of course.
But when you see it in black and white
Yes.
on a piece of paper, because the other thing is there's so many, trips and gambling experiences that you forget about.
Oh, no question.
And when it's put there in front of you, man,
Yeah.
that's a tough day.
And I'll tell you the one thing about that financial, I used to trick myself so many times. Man, there was one year I didn't gamble from ages 10 till 36, 37. There was one year I just didn't gamble. Like you just lied to yourself. You played tricks with your brain.
Yeah.
And then when I did that financial affidavit and there was not one year that I didn't gamble,
Yeah.
it kind of puts a lot into perspective of
Yeah.
like what it really is to be on a gambling binge and to be a problem gambler. And, life is incredible now that I was able to overcome that and continue to, like I said, live a day at a time and live a peaceful life. Life is
Well, look,
peace.
I've been doing this with FanDuel for the better part of 4+ years now.
Yes.
And my story, like yours, is very public. And I'm so happy that you've joined me
Yes.
on this team because it's real. It's real life. There's no BS with it.
Yep.
And when you share stories that we've shared and now we've met so many people who are not in the public eye,
Yep.
who are now more comfortable sharing their stories, it makes a difference. And I'm proud of you, brother.
No, appreciate it.
Really proud of
Yeah.
you. It's hard to do this, and I'm glad you're doing it and joining me. And I can't wait to do more of these with you. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Craig.
All right, welcome back to the comeback. Great having Randy Livingston here. Now a different perspective of a same story. Anita Smith is Randy's wife, and we say all the time, the people that are hurt the most by the actions of people like me and Randy and other compulsive gamblers are the family members, the spouses, the kids, the partners. So Anita's version of events that Randy was doing might be a little bit different than Randy's. So first off, thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure, Craig. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, I think it's so important that we talk to spouses and talk to loved ones because you got hurt more than anybody by what Randy was doing. He said something interesting, though. When he walked out of that casino and saw the big 800 gambler sign, and he finally came to you with the truth, or at least a portion of the truth, that your reaction was, I already knew. Is your version of that story the same?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I had known for years at that point. The key indicators for me were that he would go into these periods of time where his behavior shifted from his baseline behavior quite radically. And to give you an example of what I mean by that, we're a very close couple. We communicate frequently, we tell each other things. He knows where I am, I know where he is. And then all of a sudden there would be a period of hours where he wouldn't answer his phone, he wouldn't reply to my texts. I didn't know where he was. And that was out of character for him, As I said, like, we're very close. We always have been. So that was like, something is off here.
And
I don't know what it is, but something is off.
As a spouse who knows there's something going on, but not sure what at the beginning,
Yeah.
walk people through that emotionally, because you don't want to be a detective either.
Yeah.
Because he's going to question that also. He's going to get mad at you like,
Of course.
what do you mean you don't trust me? What do you mean you're looking into things?
Of course.
That's the defense mechanism.
Of course.
So it's kind of not a dangerous game, but there's an eggshell aspect of your life where, man, I want to be wrong so badly,
Yes.
but I know there's something going on. How do I investigate it without accusing him of things?
Yeah. Well, I first started questioning it before our children were born, because in my mind, I'm thinking, I want to have a family, but I don't want to have a family with somebody who has a severe problem.
Right.
So I need to know one way or another, like what is going on. And so I did, in fact, hire a private investigator because I didn't want to be the investigator.
Yeah.
And he returned to me with videos and photographs and a log of his whereabouts. And I'm like, good to know.
So what did you do with the information when you got it? Like, how long did you sit on it?
I don't think I've ever told him that before. He may be watching this going, really?
He's going to want to see the photographs, by the way. I know I'd probably want to see him. So you kind of had him caught red-handed. And then the question is, now as a loving spouse,
Yeah.
you've now confirmed maybe some of your worst fears,
Yeah.
that he's gambling, right?
Yes.
That he's going behind your back, he's lying to you.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, is that like a calculated attack? Do you sit back and wait for the right moment? How did you handle having the information?
Well, firstly, I knew that I needed to confront him with that, and not with showing him pictures and things.
Right.
I just needed him to know that I knew that he had a problem with gambling,
Yeah.
and I wanted to know what he planned to do about it, because I wanted to be clear in my communication that was a line that I wouldn't cross. That I have boundaries, and one of them is I don't want to be in partnership with someone who's a problem gambler. And when we talked about it, he basically minimized the issue,
Right.
kind of didn't admit that it was as serious as it was.
You put the toe in the water a little bit. I'll give you a little bit, but
Yeah.
I'm not telling you everything.
Yes.
Right.
And he very quickly jumped to suggestions for guardrails for himself
Okay.
without me suggesting it.
So
He
you
was,
felt once you confronted him that he's been exposed now, that he was pretty willing early on to get help, to
Yes.
live a more open, honest life.
yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. And I basically said to him, look, I don't want this to be part of my life. That's a choice that I'm making. But I'm not going to leave you, because if I leave you, you're not going to get help.
Right. For sure.
So here's the deal I want to make with you. If you tell me you are committed to getting better and will take active steps to getting better, then I will stay with you and I will walk this journey with you.
Wow. That's powerful.
The minute I doubt your sincerity, yes,
Out the door.
yes.
No second chance. Or I guess,
Not at that point,
Right.
no.
right. He'd put you through it enough where you got one crack to get this right. And if you waver at all, peace out. I'm
Yes.
gone. Are your lives as a couple better now? Are you closer now than
Oh,
you
yeah.
were even before all the nonsense happened?
Oh, tremendously closer.
You are.
Yeah, I mean, it's like whenever you go through a hardship or a challenge, it typically either breaks you or brings you closer
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
One of the
'Cause
two
my
things
wife
is
and I
going to
are
happen.
closer now than maybe we ever were.
Yeah, same. May I add a little?
Yeah.
I really want people watching this who are in my position to feel they're not alone, because I felt very alone.
Yeah.
I didn't know who I could talk to. I didn't talk to anybody. There's not only shame and guilt for the person with the problem, but there's also shame and guilt for the people in their immediate circle.
Yeah.
So I looked for resources. There was nothing available that I could find at that time. Hopefully there's more emerging now.
Yeah.
And I know FanDuel is doing a lot in that space to kind of contribute to resources
yeah.
and conversation. But at the time I was going through it, there was nobody like me out there talking
You knew of.
that I knew of.
Yeah.
And that's in fact the big driver for me to be part of this.
A lot of times when we talk about compulsive gambling, we only think of it about the guy or gal that's the gambler.
Yes.
And I get that. And the reality is that we leave so much damage in the wake behind us, starting with our spouses, our children, our loved ones, and no one ever takes time to hear their stories. So I think it's great that you're sharing yours, and very powerful, and I'm glad to be on this journey with you.
Thank you so much, Craig, for all you do.
Thank you. Welcome back to The Comeback. Craig Carton here. We have Randy and Anita together. We did just learn something, Randy.
Oh.
Anita hired a private investigator when you were being a knucklehead, and she wasn't sure if you even knew that part of the story.
No, and if she did say it, I thought it was a myth, so it wasn't real. But yeah.
Look, I'm glad you guys are here together. And in the final minute or so that we have, I think it's important that people do see you together.
Yes.
Not every couple does make it through, and that's also understandable. Look, divorce is very hard on families, on kids. You didn't have kids at the time. But Randy, if I could just have you speak to the extent you're comfortable talking about how much Anita has meant to you, not just as your spouse, but as the one person that you had to go to, that you could go to when you were at the lowest point in life.
Yeah, so first I would like to say prayers work, right? And sometimes God sends you angels and you don't know at the time. But then once you realize it, you understand the magnitude of, what she has meant to my life. Really just challenged me and forced me to be a better human being. I think at the end of the day, that means a lot to me because I know I've been around the block. I know the professional sports world. I know when people really care. And so when you have somebody that has your back, your front, your sides, and really, really care for you, you can only but, look at that as the most positive thing that has been a part of my life today. Because sometimes in life we go through things. We have demons. We have things that, you can't control. But then when you have somebody that comes into your life and really is very, very positive, very, very demanding of what she expects out of not only a husband, father, person, and friends that she want to be around, that made it very easy for me to really pull in. But at the end of the day, when I went to the treatment center, it hurt not being around them because as a man, you want to be the protector.
Sure.
And so like all of those things were going on, but without her, I wouldn't be where I am today. And
you needed this woman to call you on your bullshit.
100%.
I mean, that's what it was, right? Like you're not all that impressed with him anymore, right? Like everyone else in his life, I'm sure was great athlete, NBA superstar, all that. Someone had to stand up to him, maybe look up to him and go, hey, you don't impress me all that much.
Right.
And final thing for you guys, there was a point when you were married to a broken man, a guy who had to figure it out, a guy who had to, pick himself up by the bootstraps and become a better man, a better husband, and ultimately a great dad. And what do you think about the man sitting next to you now compared to that man when you caught him?
I'm so incredibly proud of him. You're going to make me cry.
It's okay.
He is the strongest person I know. He has been through so much in his life. And I'm not just talking about gambling.
Mm-hmm.
But for him to be strong, powerful, and now be a leader, be an advocate, being a stand-up guy in the community who stands for the right things and is willing to fight for that, that's the man he is today.
No better way to end it. Anita Smith, Randy Livingston, privileged to have you on the team here. And I appreciate the raw emotion. It's real. And you're a lucky son of a gun. I'll tell you that. You are lucky.
I know that every day.
We'll see you again next time here on The Comeback. Thank you for watching. Conversations about betting with loved ones are more important than ever. But you may not know where to start. Like, what are the warning signs of problem gambling behavior? What are the associated risks where someone can go for help? There's a new resource hub from FanDuel and Epic Global Solutions that aims to answer those questions and equip parents, coaches, and other trusted adults with the tools and information they may need to start a conversation with a young person about gambling. Created in partnership with retired NBA star, my buddy, Randy Livingston, and his wife, Anita Smith. The program is called trusted voices, conversations about betting, and it lives on conversationsaboutbetting.com. You know, when you visit the site, you're going to hear directly from Randy and Anita as they share their personal story of how problem gambling negatively impacted their family, including details of Randy's incredible journey as a five-star prep phenom who went on to play several years in the NBA while simultaneously struggling with a gambling problem. There's also a downloadable guide that features details on today's gambling landscape and provides guidance on how you can help a loved one. Randy and Anita are sharing their own story with hope that they can help other families get comfortable with traditionally uncomfortable conversations. Please take a moment to visit conversationsaboutbetting.com to learn more.